Morning, everybody. So, I thought I'd take you along with me on a walk. Um, this is a neighborhood kind of far away from my place, and I decided to go south off of the main road instead of north off of the main road. And I thought it was a dead end until today, but these are some nice houses back here. Older, a lot older. Um, the town that I live in, God, I mean, it's kind of built up, but it seems to be one of the most popular towns in Indiana. And we have a bazillion roundabouts. I'm sure you heard me talk about that before. But anyway, so let's talk about last week. You guys did see the little post that I did watching the guys put that AC up in the ceiling. I'm glad that's off my plate because that was kind of stressing me out. It was right there above my desk. We had to move my desk, and it was like, I swear, 1,000 pounds. And then watching them put that, I guess it's the HVA unit up in the ceiling. The first time it didn't fit, so they had to come back down. One guy almost fell off the ladder. By the time they finished, I mean, I was like freaking exhausted from sitting there holding my breath the whole time. So, anyway, that is done. Now, the next big thing in my lobby is they're getting ready to change out the green tile that's in there and put in like a neutral tile and update it. And apparently, our office is getting new kitchen cabinets sometime this fall as well, and new carpet in the back, which frankly, we needed a long time ago. The building that our office is in is 30 something years old, and a lot of the stuff that is in there is, I'm sure, the original, and you can tell by looking at it. So this kind of refers back to a video I did like a month or so ago. Remember when I said there were a lot of commercial buildings, a lot of commercial rental spaces that are not being used or rented back out after COVID? I think that's one of the reasons REI is working so hard. I'm probably going to get lost in here, to be honest. I don't know my way around. So, we're going to see what happens. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons they're doing all of these upgrades, is because they know if they don't have a prayer of keeping anybody in that space, that we've got other options, and so does everybody else that's in that building. So that's my feel of why we're getting all of these upgrades. But I could be wrong. Nobody tells me anything. I'm either the first to know or the last to know. One of the things that I want to talk about that I found very interesting this week was the, oh God, now I can't remember. It's like not the Indianapolis Business Journal, well, the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal keeps getting thrown at my front door. So I've been looking at it real quick and reading through it to see if there's anything interesting in there. And one of the things that I saw over the week that I thought was interesting was I think it was called the pig butchering scam, which doesn't have anything to do with what it's actually about. It's actually so long story short, I never have a long story short. It's never short. That particular piece was about a guy who had been scammed from a dating site, like $300,000. And a lot of these people that get scammed from a dating, either a website or somebody approaches them online and acts like they've fallen in love with them, a lot of these people are so embarrassed they won't tell anybody. But for whatever reason, I don't know, he must have went to an attorney or something. And this attorney was able to get 70% of his money back because the dumbass people that had stolen the money from him in this dating scam, pig butchering scam is what they call it. That was the subject line on the Wall Street Journal. That's why it caught my eye, was the name of the scam. So anyway, I'm crossing the street. Oh, I don't want to go down there because that road gets busy. That's where I was at last week, so I'm going to stay up here for a little bit. So, now I forgot what I was saying. Okay, let me think here. So anyway, he must have gone to this attorney, and this attorney was able to get 70% of his money back because the thieves, the stealers, the liars had put their money in a crypto account, and she had gotten some sort of lockdown and froze the account and was able to get a bunch of that money back. So then, because she was able to get that dude's money back, all of these people started coming forward and saying that they had been scammed out of a bunch of money. So I hope they do get some of their money back, but I have a couple of stories that go along with that. I think I've told mine before, which is kind of funny. I had, God, this was when I lived in my house. I had a guy that approached me online. His name was David. This was right in the beginning when the dating scams was brand new. The internet had been around for a little while, and so I think they were starting to figure out what they could and couldn't do through the internet. So he had sent me a message, and we talked for like a week, and I will fully admit I ended up calling him. He gave me his phone number, and I remember when I talked to him, I was like, he did not sound like he was American. And later on, I ended up getting an $18 phone bill because I had called out of the country, but didn't know it at the time. Anyway, that happened after. So I'm like talking to this guy for like a week, and he asks me for money because I don't know, I think his story was he had gotten stuck out of the States, or I can't even remember what his story was. And I remember thinking, are you fucking kidding me? You don't have anybody else that you know better than me to ask for money, and so that was like my first big red flag. And I think I told him to get lost at that time and quit talking to him. But like almost like that very same day, I had gone to the gym, and Dr. Phil was doing a piece on his show about these dating scams and talking about how like some of these women had gotten $30,000. They had given $30,000 to these people that pretended to be, someone that was in love with them or whatever. And when I watched that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what just happened. I didn't give him any money, but that was what that guy was trying to do, was he was trying to get money from me. So after I watched that Dr. Phil thing, I went back online and I sent this guy a message, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I miss you. I'm sorry, what do you need? I'll help out, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, he wanted me to send him some money through Western Union. And I'm like, okay. Well, there's a Kroger down the street. I'll send some. I'll go down there tomorrow or something like that. And he's like, no, I need it today. Go down there now. And I was like, okay. So, of course, this is all being typed, that was before FaceTime. So I'm like pretending like I'm going to run down to Kroger and send him some money. And so I waited, I don't know, half an hour or something, and I sent him a message, and I'm like, okay, it's been sent. Hey, there's a Trump sign. And he was like, well, it's not here yet. And I was like, well, it's coming. I mean, I've sent it. So I strung him around for a little while, and then finally said, something like, I've called the FBI, and I've done this, and I've done that, and blah, blah, blah. And I never heard from him ever again. I wished I could have, got him in trouble, but at that time, I didn't know how. I just wanted him to leave me alone and quit asking me for money and scare him. And so maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't know if he continued doing what he was doing. But when they have those dating scams, they always have the same story. So I'm sure many of you women and men. I'm sure the men have the same types of things. Um, the stories are always the same, especially the ones on Facebook. You know, you'll have some good-looking guy send you a message. He's in the military. He's a widow. Is he a widow? I think he's a widow. So he lost his wife and he has like a 6 or 7 year old son. And it's always, all of the stories are always the same background. Well, that's so they can remember what their story is and not get it confused, because they've got probably 15 or 20 or however many people on the line trying to get money from them. So, so that pig butchering scam attorney apparently has figured out a way to, especially if these people are using cryptocurrency. But you know, I guess this is the good and the bad part of the bank knowing all of our business, the government knowing all of our business. I mean, it's bad because they do, but in a case like this, it's good that they were able to access the bad people's account and lock it down. I also remember being at a TGI Fridays with a girlfriend of mine years ago. I'm talking 20. It was probably after mine happened. I don't even remember. I mean, this has been so long ago. Um, she had come in and she had been talking to some guy in New York, and she was like so excited because he had sent her flowers. And as soon as she said that, it was like I got this sick pit in my stomach. And I realized, and I think, I don't know if she ever told me, but I was like, this is another dating scam. You know, it's like they'll pull you in and make them look like they're real because they'll send you flowers and they'll invest a little bit of money to get 30 or 40 or more out of you. So if you guys are single, if you know anyone who's single, please watch out and don't let this happen to you or any of your friends, because it's very, very prevalent. But yeah, pig butchering attorney. She's the one, and maybe it's the reason they call it pig butchering is because the people that do the stealing and the hoaxing and the dishonest people are pigs. Ooh, tree. Look at that. That one's starting to turn, although the leaves are almost off of it by now. Let's see what else is going on. So I posted a video yesterday on Telegram talking about J Lo and P Diddy. I'm very fascinated to see what's coming out about this P Diddy thing. Um, so if Jeffrey Epstein isn't going to sing like a canary, maybe P Diddy will. And I'm really super curious as and I hope this doesn't come off like I'm being racist, but it probably is, and that's not what my intention is. I'm really, really curious what the African American culture thinks of this. Do they think that this is like a big giant lie and there's no way that someone that they looked up to for so many years, if someone they looked up to, this couldn't be true, right? I mean, that's what I'm wondering. Or have the blinders come off of their head? Have they started to realize that there's as many, you know, other cultures that are schemers and scammers and crooks and doing all the bad shit as there are, it doesn't have anything to do with the color. It has to do with whether you're a creep or not. So I'm just really curious as to whether that's sinking into some of them, because they've had some of their prevalent basketball players and just different, like think some of the church guys have started to take a nosedive because people are starting to figure out what's going on with them. So anyway, I'm just like really curious how that, group of people is taking this whole thing with P. Diddy. So anyway, I think this is, probably it. I'm about out ready to go back to the road. And yeah, Wall Street Urinal. Um, I couldn't, sometimes I forget. Anyway, okay, I'm done. This is over. I appreciate whoever watched. Talk to you later, and bye. Over and out.